Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you've been here before, you know that I am a girl that talks about all things military spouses. And if you haven't been here before, go ahead, like, subscribe, get comfortable, turn your volumes up so you can go ahead and clock this tea. Today's video is about on base and off base housing and all of the benefits that come with each of them and the pros and cons. Okay, so like I said, if you haven't been here before, like, subscribe, get comfortable, turn your volumes up, and go ahead and clock this tea with your girl Sammy. Okay, let's go ahead and hop into this. First step is on-base housing. A lot of people choose on-base housing because of convenience, proximity to the job of the service member, and just having everything like the commissary, the exchange, gyms, medical clinics, parks, different things like that. Sometimes they have schools on there. And so a lot of people choose on-base housing because of proximity, convenience. And that's usually the top reason. It's like, I don't know this area. I don't want to look. I don't want to live off base unless you're like seasoned in the military. Now, if you're seasoned in the military, you already know what to do. You done been through several different bases. You done mastered this PCS process, so you know whether you want to live on base or off base. But for the people that are new in the military or they're trying to figure it out, they usually tend to choose on base housing just because maybe they only have one working vehicle, maybe they don't have no vehicle because they're fresh in the military. So usually convenience and proximity is the number one reason why people choose to live on base. Another reason why people choose to another reason why people tend to choose on base housing is because of the built-in community support. Most of on base housing in communities, they usually have like community centers, again, parks, they have schools. Most of them have Facebook pages so that if you need something, you can reach out to the Facebook groups of the community that you live in. Sometimes that you can even find floor plans and find details about the community that you're going into just based off of the Facebook pages of the base that you're going to. So that's always a good thing. A lot of times they're close knit. Sometimes they messy. Yeah, everywhere you go, there's a little bit of mess when you go to these bases. So sometimes they're a little bit messy, but if you choose to weed out the bad and choose to attach to the good, the messiness just you mind your business, they mind theirs. It won't follow you too much. The next thing would be cost savings. Now, a lot of people that tend to live on base, they want to save. And the best thing about saving from living on base is your BAH is automatically gone. As soon as you sign the lease, they take your whole BAH. Now, with that, it comes all of your utilities and bills being paid. The only thing that I've seen is you have to pay for like trash. And I mean, and that's only because they choose to get contractors because, of course, on base, they don't have trash service. It's just, they don't have trash service. And so they usually get contractors to service the base for the local area, and they usually provide trash services to the people that live on base. And usually you have to pay anywhere from $30 to $60 a month, which is not terrible because if you live off base, you have to worry about the power bill, the water bill, gas. You have to worry about all those extra things. And the way that this economy is going, honey, those things can range anywhere between $100 to $300 each a month. So just not having to worry about, oh, my power bill $300 this month. It was $100 last month. I didn't budget for this. And it's coming out of your check. It is coming out of your check. And if you are staying somewhere that takes up the full BAH, it's coming out of your check. I mean, not your check, but service check. So a lot of times people are like, I'd rather stay on base so I don't have to worry about the cost of anything. Since all of my utilities are already covered, there's no fluctuation in what we pay. They're just taking the whole BAH and I don't have to worry about it. So I'd rather do that. So, that's another pro for it. Another pro for living on base is safety and security. Almost all of the bases in the US and even in other countries too, you have to have military ID to get on, or you have to be brought on with a service member or a service member's family member. And so the security of that is they do not allow felons on military installations, and you have to go to the gate. you have to ride through the gate. So in order to get on the gate, I mean, in order to get on the base to get to the housing, somebody has to see you get there. It's not like you living off base and somebody can just ride up to your house. No, you have to be able to get onto there. And so that adds a little 24/7 security to living on base because you need permission. Now, the con to that is some people might just be crazy. Some service members ain't get. And so, even though there's 24/7 security, sometimes things do happen, but the likeliness of something happening on base versus off base is pretty slim. The margin for off base is way bigger than on base for something happening crazy. So, you don't have to really worry about that. And you prioritize like discipline and respect and stuff like that because on base, you kind of have to hold up a repertoire. They make you follow certain rules when you're living on base. And so, all that little foolishness and mess, the MPs is gonna show up to your house. They gonna show up. So you gotta have a little bit of act right when you living on base. You gotta have just a little bit, a little bit. You might be known as the family that lives on, you know, don't give a fuck out of it. But you have to have a little bit of repertoire when you're living on base, okay? And then the family-friendly amenities. Most on-base places have schools, they have playgrounds, they have the MWR, they have the community centers, they have so many things going on. And usually during certain seasons, they usually tend to have events and they usually try to prioritize family. Mm, they do. They usually try to prioritize family events. So, like, usually, like during Christmas, there's an event. During Halloween, there's an event. Um, St. Patrick's Day, back to school, out of school, summertime events. Just there's so many things that go on based off of the base. And if you follow the MWR page for the post, usually they'll host events. And sometimes even the communities that you live in on base, they have their own events too that are put on by the community. I've seen a lot of posts online where they're talking about yard sales. Sometimes they have giveaways. Sometimes they have, curbside pickup where you just PCS and you have a lot of furniture and it all doesn't fit. And so you say, hey, brand new air fryer. It's in the box. It's on the porch. Come get it. And so a lot of times those things help the people that don't have them or that need stuff or that just simply can't afford it. And they're just like, such and such down the road. Sorry. Such and such down the road has an air fryer. Go get it. And you go get it. No harm, no foul. So those are the pros and cons of living on base. Sometimes people really don't like the pros and cons to live on base. So we're gonna get into why off-post housing is chosen because a lot of times off-post housing is chosen. Off-post housing. I love off-post housing because we personally have never lived on post. There was a point in time when we were going to, but then we just didn't. And I was excited. I was like, anywho, so off-post housing, the many benefits of living off post. Okay, let's talk about off-base housing. Number one on the list, and the reason why everybody chooses off-base housing, space. If you know, like I know, if you are a seasoned military spouse, on base, sometimes there just isn't enough space. And you're always like, dang, every time we move, we got to get rid of stuff. We don't have enough space. We don't have enough space. When you live off post, you get to choose. There is nothing like having a great choice that you wanted to choose. So, off post, there's variety and there's choices. You're not limited to your rank. I mean, you're limited to the amount of BAH you receive, but you're not limited to your rank because when you live on post, you have to go off of rank. Most of the time, it's like E4 and below has certain housing, E5 and E6 has certain housing, E7, 8, and 9. And then, of course, the officers they get their own housing, and so usually when you get to bases and they say, "Hey, you're getting 1,500 for BAH," you're like, boom, bet. I've already done this. My husband's an E4. We know that we want to live off post, so we're gonna go live off post. We're gonna go find a place that's maybe $1,200, and we're gonna hope that that $300 that's left from the BAH is gonna cover the utilities and things like that. And then we're willing to pay a little bit of the base pay for the rest of the things. So more space and more variety is definitely a number one reason why people choose to live off base. But but also the number, I'm gonna say it's like neck and neck with that. Privacy and independence, okay? Privacy and independence. When you're on base, you have to deal with other military people. Everybody has to have a certain repertoire, like I said before. They have to have a little bit of decorum. But when you live off base, there's more privacy, there's more independence. You don't have to worry about looking to your left saying, oh my God, there's first arm. And you don't have to worry about looking to your right saying, oh my God, this damn fuzzy. Like you don't have to worry about those things because you're off base. Now, of course, when you're living off base, people tend to live in the same areas because of the commute time, but still having the independence and the privacy of not having to follow the rules on base, not having to say, okay, you have to adhere to only certain people can come over to your house. If they can't get through the gate or if they don't have their ID at the time, or if you want to have family members stay for an extended period of time, you don't have to follow those on base rules when you live off base. Okay. And, and, and the living spaces. I cannot express how much choosing the space, like the space, the privacy, I cannot stress it enough. When you live off base, you get to choose. And not only that, if you haven't used your VA benefits and if you are in a financial situation to where you can use your VA loan, for the duration that you're stationed at that base, instead of staying on base, you can get a house off base, even if it's a small house, because you can turn it into an investment property after you guys leave. You don't even have to sell it. You can literally say, Hmm, we're going to Fort Campbell. I seen a couple of nice properties at Fort Campbell that I would be willing to live in. You live in there, say 2, 3 years, and your time is up, and you're getting stationed at JBLM, and you bought a house at Fort Campbell, you can rent it out. Now you have income because no matter what base you go to, you're always going to get BAH. You're always going to get it. So now you have a property at Fort Campbell creating income, and then you still get BAH to cover when you move to another location. So now you just created generational wealth. You just created a stream of income based off of just choosing to use your VA loan because you choose to live off base. And a lot of people forget that portion, that service members are allowed to get VA loans at every duty station that they go to. Now, some people buy a house, sell a house, buy a house, sell a house, buy a house, sell a house because they have the financial abilities to do so. But if you don't have the financial abilities to do so, you can say, hey, I got stationed at Fort Campbell. I bought a house at Fort Campbell. I'm going to JBLM. JBLM is really expensive. I'm going to choose to live on base at JBLM, but I'm going to keep my property at Fort Campbell. I'm going to use that to generate some income, charge a couple $100 over BAH, start pocketing that, and then that way, boom, you got a little extra money. With extra money. No harm, no foul, right? No harm, no foul. Off post, you actually get to also choose schools. When you're on post, of course, you're strict. The schools are based off of the neighborhoods that you live in, if there's multiple schools on the base. But when you live off base, you get to do your little research. You get to look at school scores, you get to look at test scores and things like that and say, hey, I want to live in this neighborhood. It's 20 minutes from base. They have top schools. They have different programs that we really enjoy. My kids play sports. My kids like this activity. And this school has all of those things. And you get to literally allow your kids to live their best life like you were trying to do. Okay? Like, best of both worlds. You're living off post, you get the space you want, you get the privacy, you get the independence, and your kids get to go to good schools. They're not strictly, housed in the Dodia school district. So that's another perk. And and if you play it right, living off base, you can save money too. So you can say, hey, BAH is 1800. I found a place for 1300. They include all of the utilities. Or, ugh, bless me. They include all the utilities for an extra 200. So now you're only at 1500, and every month you're pocketing $300. You're pocketing $300 and you're putting that into your savings. So not only can you pocket money from the base pay, you're pocketing money from your BAH. When you live on post, they automatically take all of the BAH, whether it's worth it or not. They're taking your whole BAH. The whole check is gone. Okay? So being able to save, being able to invest, if you have money left over, that is also a great benefit of living off post. And a lot of people take advantage of that benefit too. They're like, oh, I can save money if I choose to, live below my means and not have my whole BH taken by living on post. So that's also another thing. And community. Lastly, community. Um, on base has community, off base has community. And you can choose, again, you can choose the communities that you live in. You can check out and see if they have community centers. You can check out to see if they have like different events that happen in that county. There's just so many perks. There's so many perks to living off base. So living on base, cookie cutter houses. You don't have to worry about ever changing fluctuation with any of the bills. Everything's going to stay the same month over month. Off base, although there's fluctuation, you can choose to budget and plan. You just get more options, you get more varieties. You don't have to be adhering to strict policies and things like that. So, what are you going to choose? On base or off base? Based off of what I've told you, go ahead, drop a comment at the bottom and let me know what you would choose when you get stationed at your next duty station, on base or off base. Both of them have great perks. Both of them have their cons, but tell me how you feel, okay? Thank you for choosing to come watch this little video about on base and off base housing. I appreciate you staying. Thank you for choosing to come hang out with me and watch my little video about on base, off base housing. My next video should be dropping in a couple more days, and it will be about all of the things that you need to know about being a military spouse, the truth about being a military spouse. And y'all not gonna want to miss that, okay? There's always so much chit chatter, chit chatter, chit chatter. I'm here to drop the tea and the gems about being a military spouse, okay? Because it's not all it's cracked up to be, but there is also some great benefits of being a military spouse, okay? Thank you. Peace.